The Oxford movement, otherwise known as the Tractarians and some less polite names, was a high church tendency of Oxford Anglicans with decidedly Roman Catholic leanings. One of them, Newman, leant so far to Rome that he eventually toppled over altogether and became a cardinal. They got going in the 1830s, and in 1836 Newman, still C of E at that time, got the architect Henry Jones Underwood to design a proper church at Littlemore. It was, of course, Gothic, and it was, of course, in Oxford. It might surprise you, then, to learn that he built another Oxford Movement church shortly afterwards, between 1838 and 1841, in a rural lead mining district, just outside Aberystwyth. Unlikely as this sounds, there's a reason for it. The brother of Isaac Williams of Trinity College, Oxford, lived in Llangorwen. Isaac was curate for Newman's Littlemore Church, and it was decided to build its equivalent here, to serve a congregation of farmers and lead miners who were almost certainly more Calvinistic in outlook than Catholic. But to try and appeal to them, the church had its creed and 10 Commandments at the East End in Welsh. It was opened with a consecration service in Welsh, including the sermon. That was a first. I'm not sure if it worked. It was known locally as Eglwys Pewsey, the Pewseyite church. Pewsey was one of the Tractarians, and Pewseyite was used as a derogatory term. Mrs. Matthew Davis Williams laid the foundation stone of this church in a downpour, which was not a promising start. Funding was entirely from the Williams family. They paid £2,000 towards what was really a bit of a vanity project. There was supposed to be a tower at the West End, but it wasn't built. Underwood's church is every bit an 1830s one. It's not got the confidence of later Gothic churches. The Gothic revival was still finding its feet at this time. It has rather boring, regularly spaced tall lancets and buttresses, and the chancel has no side windows, which makes it rather gloomy. Controversially, it has a stone altar, the first in Wales since the Reformation. This was the first correct new Gothic church in Wales. Correct because it was modelled on medieval precedent and because of the liturgical arrangements. It has a faux hammer-beam truss roof. The interior is rather stark, but it is enlivened by the eagle lectern, perching magnificently on a rail, and carved from a single piece of Spanish chestnut. And there are some magnificent chandeliers, these all gifts from the great men of Oxford, Keble and Newman. The first vicar was Lewis Gilbertson, later Vice Principal of Jesus College, Oxford. A fund for building the tower didn't have enough money in it, but it did have some money. Gilbertson called in an exciting new architect who was favoured by the Oxford movement, William Butterfield. Butterfield was tasked with building a porch and doing something with that plain West End. Just look at what he did. That skyrocket of a bellcote cum buttress is really something. It's worth a closer look. It's a marvellous metamorphosis from buttress to bellcot, each stage going through a variety of different geometrical forms. The stone was quarried nearby. If it had been less dark, it would have shown the changes in shape off more clearly, but even so, it's very dramatic. Internally, we see the supporting work for the bellcot handled with more stylish geometry, and the pair of lancets are in keeping with those by Underwood, but with a typical Butterfield solidity in the treatment of the reveals. The porch, with its splayed sides, is typical of Butterfield, and the foiled roof timbers are a delight. He was at the beginning of his career when he got this fairly minor commission, but Butterfield's confident and distinctive style are already very much in evidence. Mr. Matthew Davis Williams, who founded this church, died in December 1860 and was buried on the east side of the chancel in the churchyard just behind the altar. There are several tombs there to the Williams family. His tombstone weighed 7 tons, and while it was being lifted from the steamer in Aberystwyth harbour, the chain snapped and it fell into the water and had to be pulled out with great difficulty. All Saints Llangorwen is important in the history of Welsh Anglicanism. The first all-Welsh consecration service was here. The first post-Reformation Welsh stone altar was here. The first Oxford Movement church, the first correct early English church in Wales. It's not the most beautiful church in Wales, but I think Butterfield's work raises it a good deal and adds an unexpected bit of panache to this surprisingly located piece of high church architecture. If you want to visit, it's reliably open daily in summer. I do hope you enjoyed this visit to this interesting church. If so, please click the like button. And please consider supporting the channel by either subscribing or by using the join button to be a member of the channel. I'd like to thank Kathy P, who was the first to become a channel member and who I think will very much enjoy that porch roof. And as always, thank you for watching.